climate change. I go to Alhambra High School. I'm going to be an upcoming senior.
Hey, my name's Nee. I'm going to be an upcoming senior. I go to Oroville High School, Northern California.
Okay, so we chose our topic today on coral reefs, particularly those in Hawaii, because they are an underrepresented group, and also they are highly sensitive to temperature change due to climate change, and that is why we chose it. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy our video.
For Dory, this may have been an easy task, but for the corals that make up Nemo's environment, swimming is not as easily done as is said. Corals, while not actually being alive, are structural systems made from organisms called polyps, which live in the coral in a symbiotic relationship with algae, called Fusariidae. While polyps vary in size, most to all types of these polyps emit calcium carbonate into the water, which precipitates out to eventually form the structure of a coral. Over millions of years, the polyps produce more calcium carbonate and the coral systems grow to become coral reefs, like those presently found in Hawaii.
Corals have been present in the world for millions of years alongside with the dinosaurs. And just like plants, corals provide the basis for many food webs and biodiversity, 25% of all marine life, in fact. You could even say that coral reefs are like the rainforests of the ocean. But because of climate change, these important ecosystems are in trouble, in more than just ecological terms. But what exactly is climate change, and how exactly does it affect coral reefs, particularly in Hawaii? More importantly, why should you care?
Well, climate change is any difference in the traditional weather patterns over time in a particular area. Recently, the climate has increased in temperature all over the world, and although some sources point to this being natural, there are human contributors, particularly carbon dioxide, CO2, a greenhouse gas. The ocean absorbs most of the CO2 in the atmosphere, which is good for corals, which use the CO2 to eventually make their skeletons. But as more CO2 is released, the corals begin to experience detrimental side effects as water temperature rises. In addition, CO2 in water naturally reacts with hydrogen ions to form carbonic acid, and this makes the ocean more acidic by lowering the pH, which further negatively impacts coral reefs. This detrimental effect is known as ocean acidification, and due to the increase in CO2 concentration, the pH has gone down from a stable 8.2 to 8.1. This, combined with rising global temperatures, has caused what is now known as coral bleaching along the coral reefs of Hawaii. Coral bleaching is the removal of Fusariidae from coral reefs. With these organisms gone, the polyps are unable to sustain themselves and die off. Still, why should humans, why should you care?
More than 80% of all American coral reefs are located in Hawaii and provide beauty and generate revenue for Hawaii, and therefore the United States. $360 million annually through tourism. The value of the reefs as a system, however, are estimated to be even greater, an approximate $10 billion.
These coral reefs are also home to over 60 unique species of coral, which support of what is thought to be more than 400 different types of algae and larger species, including a variety of fish as the trophic levels move up. Without the coral reefs, this would mean an imbalance in the food web, which would most probably lead to reduced levels of fish that are important to Hawaii fisheries, who depend on fish to generate revenue.
Coral reefs also act as a barrier that reduces the erosion effect of waves on the beaches of Hawaii. Without these coral reefs, erosion of Hawaiian mainland can be accomplished much quicker. This means that as sea levels rise due to increasing global temperatures, the islands that make up Hawaii can be eroded away and submerged underwater more easily. To repair any damage caused by the facilitated erosion, it is estimated by a group of the Earth Institute at Columbia University to be anywhere between $300 billion to $6 billion.
Currently, coral reefs are in decline. The contributing agents are primarily greenhouse gases and ocean acidification, both of which are intensified by human activities. Warmer ocean and global temperatures not only cause coral bleaching, but also encourage the proliferation of toxic algal species, particularly those of red pigments, which are toxic even to humans. Approximately a total of 10% of the world's coral reefs have been destroyed all over the world, but growing awareness has helped alleviate coral destruction as more people and organizations take action. Within the last few decades, the Nature Conservancy of Hawaii has developed a special vacuum tool, dubbed a super sucker, that sucks up invasive species of algae that appears as water temperature increases. This process allows for the mass removal of tons of invasive species of algae while allowing for native algae restoration through manual removal. The original one is located in Kanoa Bay, but many more have been built. Also, in 2013, the Paul G. Allen Family Foundation awarded $10,000 to Hawaiian marine biologist Dr. Ruth D. Gates for an idea on selective breeding of corals in order to decrease coral destruction. This may be only the beginning for coral restoration, but it will help Dory to just keep swimming and Nemo to breathe easier.
Okay guys, so that was the main problems with the coral reefs currently. Kind of a sad topic, but I know finding Nemo is always a good topic, so we're going to segue into our remedies, which I hope is a happier topic, the detrimental effects of it.
Okay, volunteerism is suggested but not a solution. So we were thinking companies are going to be suggested by the government to limit their production of CO2, carbon dioxide. And we're going to propose a legislation that limits, and they'll have a choice, but if it comes to it when we need to actually limit it, they'll be taxed more than they already have been taxed to make them limit their use, because their main purpose is to make money. They want to profit, and if they'll be taxed, then they'll just lose more money.
And that will make them want to stop emitting greenhouse gases because they'll lose more money if they're fined. So it's an incentive for companies to stop polluting the world with greenhouse gases. So one proposal that's already been already instituted is cap and trade. And it's similar to what she was talking about. And so it's an environmental legislation proposal that limits or caps the amount of CO2 emissions factories and companies produce. And so what the government does is if they exceed this limit, then they're fined, right? And that's the cap part. The trade comes from the fact that companies, let's say one company doesn't meet its limit, it uses a little bit, it can sell the remaining amount to another company who has already reached its limit. And the one that just sold it won't be able to go any further emitting greenhouse gases. So that way, that's the trade part, that way, all the limit of CO2 is stopped for all the companies. And so that'll help hopefully reduce CO2 emissions over time. And because that'll increase the cost of production, it will drive prices up, and hopefully it will create an incentive for people to create better energy sources much quicker, such as hydrogen fuel cars or more wind turbine power that are more energy friendly and less pollutant, like greenhouse gases that cause climate change.
So in 1998, Bill Clinton passed an executive order called Executive Order 13178. And the goal was to protect coral reefs, that was the main point. And then 2 years after, he passed an act, it was part of the order, and it was a two-part plan to learn about coral reefs first before doing something about it, because they're really sensitive to even 1 degree change in temperature. And Another purpose of it was to limit reverse impacts due to human activity, for example, like physically damaging it by touching it or picking off of it or just hurting it in general, harming it with your hands, legs, body parts, etc.
Okay, so I mentioned before the alternative energy sources. As the government, hopefully cap and trade is instituted, as the government enforces companies with taxes and production costs go up, it'll hopefully provide an incentive for people to invest in alternative energy sources such as hydrogen fuel cells, solar power, osmotic power, and fusion power. And this is actually a link to a website we created regarding fusion power if any of you are interested. So it's called fusionforpower.weebly.com, and it talks about nuclear power, particularly fusion, and why it's more beneficial than fission. So thank you again for watching.
Any questions?
Can you show quickly the part,
Oh,
the
website?
website?
Yep.
So you two put the website together?
It was actually me and Hal from last year. And so it's what is fusion power. We talk about what it is. We talk about its effects, benefits, and what it